man, you don't know how much I appreciate being here back with you and with the sun behind you also.
Yeah.
It's very nice from you to have the willingness to be here and to like have a new conversation with me. I Yeah, this is an interesting project
Wow.
because this is my lucky hat,
Wow.
my
That's
totem.
that looks like a hat made from wool,
Yeah, it is.
and that hat is made for going going into a steam room to protect your head from the heat.
Ah, nice.
And what is interesting that steam rooms and the steam culture is one of my biggest passions. So I'm really passionate about that, and I'm investigating steam culture
What
and
is Steam
how.
culture?
So that's uh, indigenous people were using steam to clean their bodies and also to connect with their tribes and sometimes to induce trance states. And we can see that in many cultures,
Hmm.
in Mexican culture, in like with termascal, inipi, sauna, banya, hammam. In many cultures, we see that steam rituals. And for example, in Russian-speaking world, like banya is more ancient than church. So that's
Hmm.
the first that was the first community place where people were meeting together and sharing experience with that cleansing and purification. And that's why I've think that that's an awesome hat. Like,
Yeah, it's awesome that you say that also because 2 weeks ago I was part of a Temascal here, right next to where I live.
yeah,
Have you been
that's
inside one?
um no, I've never been to a traditional thermoscope. I've I was trying to recreate that experience here by myself with hot stones with a dome made
Hmm.
from wood and like a lot of blankets and like 12 or some about that people, and we were inside singing songs from many traditions. Some of them were like from um, like songs from many traditions
Hmm.
and trying to recreate that ritual. So
Wow.
that very interesting thing. And I can talk about that for a long time. For
I love I love listening to, yesterday I went to my mother's house
mm,
and I have been like this whole year struggling with wanting her to be different and speak about different things. So she spends a lot of her time watching Instagram or TV stuff that I'm not interested in. But yesterday I was listening to her talk about the TV show that she's watching, and the excitement that she had in her voice made me feel excited, and I am like developing the muscle of tuning in with what the other person finds important in his life, because I'm not someone for saying that that is something that should not be important,
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of you talking about temazcals or saunas, I am very interested in that. So to what I said about my mother, I add my own interest, so I could be like listening to you for 3 hours talking about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know?
Cool, cool. That's and mm, that's the space that creates connection, um, because like people inside that thermoscal or sauna or banya, usually they are naked, and that means that they're all equal inside. There is no hierarchy, so they're all equal. Also, that experience of steam and the heat on the body dissolves sensation of border, like that border of your body, it dissolves because of the heat sensation. And that, because mind and body are connected, that also creates a very unusual state. And also because that steam process is a very participatory experience. So uh, I'm not sure about that thermoscal, but people are usually participating in that, creating fire, picking up stones, building the dome, going inside. So they all connected uh, through participation to one ritual. And that participations really creates very special connection between people. And they are connecting not because of their shared interest or not because of their like agendas. They are connecting because they have having the same experience of like a thermoscal or sauna or banya or inipi,
Yeah,
and that's very powerful.
it's going through something together that is challenging. It's like preparing the tribe for going through a challenge together so that we can support each other, and because of that, like, become something different at the other side, purified,
Yeah,
uh, with a better understanding of our true nature because of that of that experience of dissolution of the boundaries. That is also something that comes up as I listen to you, and it, like, talking about this, it brings into my awareness like the concept of rites of passage, you know, that was very common, like within ancient cultures. And there was a moment in time where the individual went through a rite of passage that was an integral part of what the tribe did or what the people did, so that that person could like start a new stage on his life.
yeah.
And this brings me to the question, like, where are you at with the topic of rites of passage, and have you had them in your life, and how?
Oh, that's a great question, and I think we right now uh, I'm in that liminal space, that space between stages, and on many levels. Right now, I'm like living through it. I'm in a liminal space with my with my body. Like I'm right now, I'm 32, and I see how my body changes like between something and something. I'm in the liminal space, liminal with my like relationships with my girlfriend, and also we are in the liminal space right now as society because like the world is changing rapidly. The things like COVID, the things like that, operation between Ukraine and Russia, and all that things, and that's changing world like dramatically. Mm, it seems like we're like I'm constantly in that liminal space between something and something. And the challenge is that um, the culture I was raised in, and that I think most people I live, is very is far from tradition, and therefore it's lost rituals, and it's lost their mm, rituals for that. Uh, I forgot the word when you like transcend from one stage into another stage, like
Hmm.
initiation, like rituals for initiations.
Hmm.
And we don't know how to do that. How to do that? Um,
It's like a kind of evolutionary process, like going from one aspect of your existence to another one through something. And
yeah,
it seems like, from what you say, and from my own experience, like that's something that is between those two evolutionary stages, like before tradition built something through like culture that was like the bonding from the two stages and what connected them together, but now we are kind of lost in that.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
Hmm.
That's true because we are disconnected from tradition, and there are a lot of that transitions through life,
Hmm.
like becoming from the mm, like transference from the boy to man, from transference to marriage, to becoming a father, to that uh, there are a lot,
Hmm.
and um, no one is society is not teaching us nobody taught me at school or at the university how to become a man, what
Hmm.
men should do, what is to be a man, for example, and I need to find out that like by myself, and that's a big challenge.
And this is fucking interesting, man. It's very interesting that you are like in the other side of the world in Russia, and you're speaking about this that is the same thing that I'm going through, and it's like a collective, I feel it like a collective need for guidance that has not been provided from the like older elders. So now we are going to have to like find our way through it. um and what is like your, in your experience, what has been the way by which you overcome that lack of guidance and make your way through, uh, like in the world that you were born, or in the
Hmm.
life that you had lived?
That's a good question. So I was I was lucky enough to meet, I can say, like teachers. So the people who've had that experience, and I was looking for that. I spent a lot of time like traveling, investigating different practices, different like rituals, approaches, and so on. I found several things that really helping me with that. As I mentioned before, like a steam room, where that uh, liminalness could occur. Right now, I'm a part of like a men's circle where men gather together, discussing and speaking about what is important for them right now, and doing that kind of in a special way, that connecting the both mind and that feelings, and it's not pure intellectual way, and that like for the last several years I'm investigating that nature of what is being man means to me, and how I can uh, go through that initiation. And so, yeah, I named several. Uh, I've had a lot of experience with festivals, because festivals are also could work as a liminal space, because there are many things happening there, and that structures that um, affects us a lot, such as like hierarchy, or like money, or like company we're working, or like our family. They're really or like culture. They're really holding, like holding me, holding us in that network, in that it's not like a cage, but that's and like in a festival, a lot of things mm, dissolved there,
Hmm.
and that could help uh, to get that, to transcend, to go to the next stage. So from my experience, the assistance of the teachers, people who are like ahead of me, like 10, 15, 20 years, special places, like as I mentioned, men's circle, traditional rituals that used to be spaces for that transitions, like steam rooms, and festivals. So all that. Uh,
And how does the integration process work for you? Because like for example, you go to a festival. I have been in music festivals that have had this like transformational aspect, and have been places on which I have like touched this new way of existing within each other and within oneself also. And then there is like this moment when you return to your normal life, and there is like this void that you feel, because it's like, fuck, this is not what I know it's possible, but I need to live in here. So how do you do that grounding exercise of bringing yourself into your day to day activities with the information that you got from these sources that help you to go through your life with a different mindset?
Oh, that's a good question, and that's not easy. That's not easy. I think it works in several ways. Like for me, the first thing that um, when I got to the next, it's not the next stage when I'm not sure of the correct wording, but I've starting to see things differently, and so it feels like an insight. Whoa! Now I'm seeing that, and from that point, the change starts, and that's like the process. I'm starting to see in it, and as soon as I see it, it stops to control me, and it creates the gap for a free will. I could uh, and that means that I could repeat that pattern for dozens of times, but I have now I have a chance to change it because now I can see it. Now I can see it, and now there is a chance that I could change it. And usually through time it changes. But the first step is to become aware of it. Like, oh, wow, it works like that.
And is there something that comes to your mind as a moment that has been particularly important for you, on which you had that, like, wow, this is something that I had not realized before of my behavior, and now I can see it? Is there like any particular example that you want to share?
Whoa, hmm, that's uh, particular. For example, one thing from that men's circle, I've realized that I've got we have been a part of very intensive training, and the goal of that training is to get beyond beyond limit. So something that I feel like a limit because of my body, or because of my mind is telling me that, oh, that's the limit. So, and that process of training is to get to beyond that limit. And as I've got beyond the limit, I've got an experience of perspective. So, oh, everything is in the future. So I have that perspective. Also, I felt very alive, like the connection to life, and there is no question about meaning of life or something like that. And that experience like helping me uh, to navigate through life, and to navigate and to understand that that energy and that um, state of liveliness happens after I've got above the limit. Like, it's not a prerequisite. It's the the state that goes after that.
It's like the
And that's
price.
it's not um it's not the point is, it's not the goal. It's not the goal. I'm doing that not to get into that state. I'm doing that for something like beyond myself, for something bigger than I am. And that's one of the prerequisite of going beyond the limit, because it's very hard to do that for yourself, because you're like I'm limiting myself, and to get above that and beyond that, usually something bigger helps. And that, it's pretty strong experience. Yeah.
Yeah, holy shit. And this yeah, it's very interesting what you said about like going out of oneself to like reach those outer limits, and through that integrate. Like that was the answer to the integration question. And I wonder like in your world, which is the answer between, no, which is the connection between uh, like rites of passage, integration, and service?
Hmm. Uh, like, can you be more specific about the first one, rites of passage? What does it mean?
Like these rituals that we engage in so that we can like get a new lens by which
Yeah.
see or experience reality.
Mm-hmm. And the second rite of passage,
No, the
so
second integration of those
yeah,
experiences, and then
yeah,
service.
service. That's interesting question. And maybe that's my guess. Maybe that starts from the third one. So it starts from the service, that I'm doing that not for myself. I'm doing that for something bigger than that I am. So that starts from the intention for service. After that, liminal space comes, and that ritual of that passage comes, and it helps me to transcend to that state or somewhere. And from that space, or from that state, my ability to serve improves. And that's the best way to integrate. The best way is integrate is like to serve. And that I'm not like I'm try I'm trying I'm telling that on the spot. I don't I wasn't thinking before that about that before, but it seems like it like connected.
Yeah, I
Intention,
mean,
intention mm, to serve, intention to be uh, intention for something beyond yourself. After that, that ritual, and integration through service to that bigger thing. Because
Yeah.
from my personal experience before that, all that rituals that was done from the state of curiosity, or from the state of, oh, all of my friends right now are like going to a Burning Man, or all my friends are doing, I don't know, like tantra, or doing that kind of ritual, and I will go there with a because I'm curious, or because I want to be like interesting, and that doesn't work. That just but if you really want that sense of um, that's hard to explain, that state, uh, that sense to like to transcend, to that you can't live like this, you like, I need to change, and from that state something could occur, and yeah.
Yeah, it like when you now said I need to change, it brings a lot of the work that I have been doing on accepting like myself and accepting my circumstances and accepting everything that is present in my life, so that I can like uh, transform this spending of energy trying to change myself into spending that energy in like experiencing life in a more meaningful way, so that I can be more helpful for everything that surrounds me.
uh, that's makes sense, but uh, I'm trying to remember like my experience. It is more like an inner intention for something,
Mm.
and it's really differs from that. Oh, I don't like myself, or I don't like this part. Like I'm too gloomy, or I'm too lazy, or and that I'm not happy about something, and all that critical voices in the head. They are very different from that inner intention of getting beyond something, of getting to like the unknown, of connecting with that. It could be called, I don't know, like true self, or full potential, or uh, many things.
And yeah, i I would like to like uh, use now as food for our conversation the album
Yep.
that you shared and that you chose as the one that you would take to the other side, which is
Yeah.
the Köln concert of Keith Jarrett that was
Yes.
recorded on or released in 1975. And I want to
Yeah.
read you a short poem that I wrote after I ended up listening to it today.
Wow. Let's
So
do that.
today I woke up and I sat down and listened to it as deep as I could, and this is what came out at the end. It says, "One clap after the other, the hands make their entrance to the show. celebrating the magic that happens within each guest as we listen to what is said by the soul. The strings of the piano run together as a servant for his mastery, expressing the joys, the pains, and every emotion of what we bring into this human form. My baby cries in the background, getting to know her own instrument, the perceptions that her body brings into her pure awareness. Uh, yeah, and I would like to ask you, what does this album bring into your being?
Yeah, and I think that's maybe the perfect album to listen after today's talk. And for me, it's the example of how restrictions and that how that restrictions um, could be used as the means for transcendence. So I think there is a legend, a story about that record, that Keith Jarrett came to Köln with a terrible back pain, and a very young girl was organizing that concert, like 19 years old. And the piano that was prepared for the concert was wasn't wasn't good, and they weren't able to fix it before the concert. And that Keith Jarrett decided not to cancel the concert because of his back pain and restrictions connected with that piano. And he decided like to go for it. And there were like limitations, and he used that limitations, and that limitations through that limitations he made that concert, and it was recorded, and for like dozen of years like producers were begging him to release it. And after that album, that concert was released, it became like world top jazz record. That's maybe that number 2 or number 3 after the records of Miles Davis. So it's very popular, extremely popular. And it's 100% improvised, and it was made despite limitations. And I think that that's a perfect example of how limitations could be means for creativity, and how limitations could help us to become bigger than we are, and to get in the places we've never be able to get without that limitations. The first time like we're facing it, oh, problems, limitations, whoa. But if we're courageous enough to face them, something really magical could happen, as Köln concern. So I think that's a perfect illustration for the talk we've just had.
And how does this overcoming of limitations and the consequence of that overcoming, that this is like this piece of art that has made this impact in such many people? Like, what does speak about human nature?
Hmm. That's a good question, and I think that that's one of my experience of that Köln concert. The first time I've heard it, really mm, pre- present and really uh, attentive. I've got a kind of experience of understanding that people are far um, are bigger than I used to think. That consciousness that could create such music, and in that music I could hear how the universe works, how it arises and dies, how it
Mm.
emerges, how it transcends, like love stories and life stories. And that taught me of about the human nature, that our nature is much bigger than than I used to think as like that that humans are be far more than just material, than just material, than just molecules and atoms, than just meat and bones, and some kind of electricity in their brain. So that we're fundamentally connected with nature, with the universe, and with like consciousness, and
Hmm.
that's bigger than I even could um, realize. So that's yeah. So that was my experience.
Yeah, and what is in your experience? What is the power of music?
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, that's mm, that through music, I um, I could experience that the universe, and that music is like universal. I could feel and I could feel music from various places and various cultures. And I don't need any kind of preparation for experiencing that. Um, yeah, and that's the power of music. And also it very um, creative, as like life is creative, and a lot of mm, that the way of how that music created uh, through different people and their collaborations is important, and and we could learn a lot as a human species about collaboration through that. and particularly about that concert, because that music was improvisation for a particular audience, state, time of the year. Um, that actually teaches me that music could be a gateway between that between seen and unseen, between different worlds. So it teaches that there is something beyond. Because it's pure, that's connected with like creativity. It is creativity. It wasn't like copied or composed. It was kind of performed from the present moment. And and that's like a magical thing.
It was performed through him, through Keith.
Yes, 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 yes. It was performed through him.
And yeah, as I was listening to it today, I got the sense that the more I was able to lower the barriers of my own self and like let it through me, the more I could take out of the experience of the album itself. It feels like there is boundaries that I place around my the conception that I have for my own self, and when I'm able to recognize that those are built by my own mind and like through some mental process, like lower that and open myself to the experience of the music itself, it opens like a flower, you know, like the whole experience. And I think that yeah, when there is like a musician that is able to create something like this piece that you shared with us, he is existing in that moment in that space of non-being through the music, and the expression of that non-being is timeless because that this piece was recorded 40 years ago or whatever, and it is here for us to enjoy, and it will be forever.
Yeah. That that's it.
Yeah, and so in respect of your time, I want to ask you like the last question, or give you like
Yeah.
the microphone for the last part. So you chose this album as the one that you would take to the other side after you died. So picture yourself on that process of dying and getting to the other side of wherever we go to when we die, and there is someone there that is going to receive the album and is going to play it, and you are in charge of saying the words that will come before he plays it for whoever listens to it in that place. So now I open the microphone for you to present this album for that audience, and it's open and you can say whatever you want for as much time
Oh,
as you want.
and and I and I would be in silence for that, because there is no words for presenting it.
Wow. What else can I say? Um, yeah, words are not necessary a lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I appreciate a lot this conversation. It was fucking amazing. I take
Yeah.
my hat
Yeah,
off.
it was great. Great. Thank you for inviting me, and for that, I really got beyond my limitations, and I'm really amazed how the form of our talk and what we are talking interacted and intersected. So we were talking about limitations, we were talking about liminal states and liminal spaces. We were discussing, I think, the best album and the best recording about how limitations helping to get to the other side. And we were talking about the human nature and what is beyond our usual perception and our usual way of thinking about us.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
teaches me a lot about also overcoming limitations in my own experience as a way of service. Because this space that I'm trying to build here is my act of service, because I want to, like, for me, the answer to the question, what album would you take to the other side, is a condensation of the life experience of the person that answers. So the fact that you chose this album distills who you are as a person and what you care about, and that is what I bring to being to that is what I want to bring into the world, because each person has their own interesting things to say, no matter who that person is. So I appreciate that you are willing to help me in this act of service, because I am at the beginning of it, and at the beginning it's harder because people don't know what this is about. I don't know what it is about. I just come here and try to lower the boundaries of my ego so that our best versions can come up, and I am very grateful for what happened in this conversation, because for me it was something like that.
Um, Thank you. We'll
Okay,
see.
man.
We'll see where it goes, and I would happy like to continue that conversation when the times and impulse will come for that.
Okay, brother. Thank you. Have
Yeah,
a great day
yeah,
and great life with that sun shining on your back. That is fucking amazing.
yeah, and it's also suits to your hat. It's also
Ah,
very interactive with it.
okay, brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye
yeah.
bye.
Bye.